Before we start with today's Broadway review, I want to let you guys know if you're attending at the Institute for American Musical Theater or any New York City public school, make sure that if you're going to go see a Broadway show, bring a student ID with you. It's very useful and it's very beneficial because you can see shows at a very cheap price. So I'm going to talk more about that later with the show I'm about to review, so stay tuned.
Chicle!
Hey guys, welcome to Chicle Chat. It's your boy Chicle, and we are back at it again with another Broadway review video. And in today's video, we're going to be doing a review on Ain't Too Proud, the life and times of the Temptations. There are 3 reasons why I wanted to see this musical. Number 1, it has won a Tony Award for Best Choreography. And as a dancer, I would be very interested to see this musical, especially since choreography means that that dancing is going to be really good out of all the other shows that happened in the season of 2019. And I'm really surprised that Ain't Too Proud didn't get advertised as much as the other shows like Beetlejuice and Tootsie. And number 2 is because I know absolutely nothing about the Temptations. I know a couple of their songs, but I don't know the Temptations as individuals. And so I thought, it's like the same thing I said in the preview, and it's like I said with the review videos on the Carole King musical and the Cher musicals. It's about an artist that I have no knowledge about, and if I were to see the musical, not only do I get to listen to the music, but I also get to have an experience of their past and what they've been struggling with and their successes. And number 3 is because I noticed that there are some Broadway theaters, especially off-Broadway, that will offer student rush tickets for students that attend a New York City school. Public schools, Christian schools, even theater schools like Aint. So since I got myself this bad boy, I went over to the Imperial Theater, which is where Ain't Too Proud was at, and I just pulled out my card. It gave me a $29 student rush seat for a really nice spot. Kids, stay in school, carry this with you, and you will thank me later. Also, if you guys want to know how to get cheap tickets, every single show that I have seen, I've been getting a cheap ticket. Ignore the light that just went off. Let's talk about the Temptations. But before we do, you have to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and that little bell. And with that being said, guys, let's go! Ain't Too Proud is pretty simple. It's about the life of the Temptations as they're starting out their group. They've been dealing with some stuff with racism and civil rights because it takes place in the 1960s. So of course they brought some stuff with Martin Luther King Jr. They have some bumps along the way as they're trying to climb up the mountains of success. It was like a metaphorical thing to say, but that's kind of the whole concept of the story, and there's always been different variations of the Temptations, but I'm gonna talk about 5 main leads who are the 5 main Temptations. Derek Baskin plays Otis Williams. He is basically the main character because he is the one that creates the Temptations. He invites the boys to be part of this group, and he also narrates the story because he also talks about what it was like to get with the group and then having to deal with some of the conflicts between being on the road on tours instead of being there as a father for his son. Then we have Paul Williams, played by James Harkness. He wasn't really mentioned as much as the other Temptations until a little bit of Act 2 when he has a sickness and had drinking problems, especially drinking while they were on tour at a performance. Paul was really good. I thought he did a fantastic job. Melvin Franklin, who is the bass, he is played by Jawin M. Jackson. Yeah, Jawin Jackson. He was hilarious. He was like the comic relief of the group, and I love it how he spoke in a low sound, in a bass voice. He sings bass and he sings bass, so it makes sense to have him sing in this low voice. That really hurt my throat, actually. But overall, Melvin was my favorite character. He was funny. Actually, my other favorite character is actually David Ruffin, who is played by Ephraim Sykes. Oh, see? The light bulb likes David too. But anyway, David Ruffin is my personal favorite out of the Temptations because he was just so energetic and was just so into it. He had soul, he had body language. I think that him alone would be the reason why this musical would have won the Tony for Best Choreography. I mean, there's great choreography from everybody, but man, this guy dropped into splits with a microphone up in the air, just toss, spin, and just boom, on the floor. I mean, aside from being a great dancer, his acting was great. I love his voice. When he sings Ain't Too Proud to Beg, that was the highlights. Man, he's just so good. So good. Oh, and I don't want to leave out the last one. Eddie Kendricks, played by Jelani Remy. I think that Eddie was the one that sang My Girl, and he sang in a high-pitched voice. Like, all of them were just great. There was like different personalities, different voices, all these talents coming together. I was amazed. Now the choreography is like a very 60s style. They were like doing kickball changes and stuff, and they were simple movements, but it was the energy and the character that definitely built onto that. They were dancers, but they were more of actors than dancers. So I think that's what made it more believable and more fun to get into the groove while they're dancing. And I love it when the orchestra just comes in at the end to dance along and play their music while the ensemble and the whole cast was dancing at the end. I thought that was fun to watch and to enjoy. So because there was so much hype and energy, I give this musical a 12 out of 10. I would see it again, and I would definitely bring somebody over. This was a really fun musical. Well guys, that's pretty much it for today's video. Let me know down in the comments below if you saw Ain't Too Proud, and let me know what your thoughts are. And with that being said, guys, peace out!